My name is Carolyn White. I am a marathoner for track and field. And I just set up this tour with the Wings of Blue, the Air Force Academy Parachutes team. And the reason I set this up is because I'm a 2007 graduate of the United States Air Force Academy. And before I got into running marathons, I actually was a parachuter myself. So once I got down to the Olympic Training Center, some athletes expressed interest, like, oh, what's that about? I want to learn about that. And so it was very natural for me to try to set up a tour with cadets here who admire and really look up to Olympic athletes. And they're really inspired that Olympic athletes find this very interesting. And likewise, I think the athletes loved learning about something totally new. So it just seemed a really natural connection, and I was happy to set it up.
So how would you rather touch ground after just being in the air? Probably 0 instead of 40 is a good start, you know?
How long are you actually in the air before you pull the chute?
It depends on how high you jump from.
Yeah.
If you're jumping from 3,000 feet and pulling at 2.5, you'll be in the air for about 5 seconds. If you're jumping at 14,000 feet, which is a lot of what the competition side does, that's a minute and a half to 2 minutes higher, longer if you're jumping higher than that. Like the big ways, you have a lot of time. Cool. So this is a standard parachute. As you guys sort of see from the pictures, it's rectangular once it's actually up over your head and all that. And you can steer and all that. Those are the questions everybody starts asking. And it starts out by fitting in that little black bag, which fits in your backpack. And then you pull. Actually, who wants to try on a parachute?
Adeline does, yeah.
You're in.
So I put the coat on. We'll skip the plate straps.
All right, cool. So if you turn left a little bit. First one's right. Alright, cool. Yeah, if you reach back here, you'll feel that little ball right there. Okay. Now, that little ball is connected to your entire parachute. So when you're ready to pull, you pull that on out, and then that pulls out. That little ball is connected to this thing right here, which is sort of a little mini parachute. This thing inflates behind you since you're going at least 120 miles an hour, which is attached to this black bag, which your parachute is inside. And so then that pulls the entire, black bag completely out of your bag, as well as your entire parachute then out of that. Does that make sense? A little bit? So essentially you're just sort of using your own speed going straight down to get your parachute open up. Yeah. And so you also, as I was going to say before, jump with 2 parachutes just in case something goes wrong. It's rare, but it happens. And so if you look over here, if your main parachute is going to fit in this slot on the bottom, this little square is the second parachute. So you collide with somebody else in midair, you have one of those malfunctions we were talking about, you don't die. So that's a good start. Also, as Coach was talking before about with all the new technology type stuff, we jump with a digital altimeter, which essentially means that it's going to open for us if we don't pull. So let's say you leave the plane, and I mean, 4-way, 2-way, you can get knocked out pretty easily and you're unconscious. You get down to 1,000 feet, your parachute's automatically going to go all on its own. And it makes our so, yeah. But, yeah, did you ever have a reserve ride?
600.
No. 600, no reserve ride? Alright, well I had 117 and had a reserve ride. So, yeah, so I had a reserve ride at the end of last year, meaning that actually on that time, my main canopy didn't even come out. What happened was I couldn't find my pull, and so I went straight to my second parachute. Just on your first jump as a student, you get in the plane just sort of in the front of the door, just like this, and then eventually just like
You
go.
want to see her in the door?
Yeah, sure.
What?
Yeah, sure. You ready to jump out of the plane? Let's go.
Yeah, have her sit down and let her know what it's like.
Oh, okay. So you're in the plane. You take a seat.
Okay.
Speaking of it, yeah.
Should I be doing this?
You're just sitting along in the plane, about to jump out of an airplane for the first time. You're kind of bugging out, and then you have a guy who you've known for about a week and a half sitting back here with a headset on. So he's half paying attention to you, half not, and he's like trying to be motivating or whatever. And you can either pick up on the fact that he's freaking out too, or you don't. Normally we're pretty good about that, but
Just a jump. So as a jump master, like you're thinking about where So before you put the students out, you put these wind drift indicators out, and you note where you were and you note where they went, and you're like, all right, so this is what the winds are, so I need to put the student out here. So you're thinking about like where to put the students out, how fast they're flying. You're thinking about like gliders flying around. You're thinking about students getting sick. So you're thinking about all this stuff, and then as a student's thinking about like, oh my God, I'm so scared. So like, it's kind of an interesting little
multitasking, like,
yeah.
to whatever. I mean, it's crazy, because, I mean, you also want to make sure that you're putting them out where you're supposed to put them out so they don't land in Colorado Springs, you know? So you're looking at the plane, you're keeping an eye on winds, you're keeping an eye on altitude, keeping an eye on your students, you're making sure nobody's passed out, nobody's puked yet, that's good. You're talking to the pilots, and then eventually you're finally in the right spot. Then you get the door open, and then everybody's eyes get a little bit bigger, because it's like, oh, we are doing this, you know? And so, like when I went through the first time, like I told my JM, I was like, you're putting me out first or I'm not getting out. Like, I mean, if I see somebody leave an airplane from the inside, no. So, yeah, so it worked out for me because of that. But I mean, aside from that, you sort of see everybody's eyes bug out. And then, I mean, that's when it really sets in. You'll be sitting in the back and you put somebody out of the plane and then you look back and everybody's just like, that kid just died. Nice movie. and then the next thing is like, I'm not doing that, you know? And then that's when every once in a while you have to pull a sick bag out. But yeah, so you want to see what this is like? You're just chilling there.
Yeah, go through the check.
You're
You're terrified. Remember,
Okay.
You're terrified, but you're ready. Eyes big.
You puked already.
Pull your parachute. These things are going to open up at 3,000 feet. If that doesn't work, it's going to still open up at 1,000 feet. So I mean, there's virtually no way that something that bad could really happen, you know? So then I'd say, okay, your gear is good to jump. And then everybody's just sort of like, bug out, you know?
Big-eyed.
And then
I have to stand up and walk over there.
and then I'd like put the door open. I'd say, hey, come on, stand in the door. Yeah. I don't know if you remember.
Is it really this low?
Yeah, it's really this small. We put one hand here.
And never let go.
Your left hand. Yeah.
Left hand here?
Yeah. Right foot right here in the front of the door.
You won't get sucked out. You know how on airplanes, you know?
Well, yeah, it's really what's really fun.
It's not like
I'm thinking about it. I'm
It's
gone.
not true. All the movies are wrong. Okay.
that's what
Like,
I feel like would happen.
if you shoot a hole in a plane from the inside of the plane, this does not create a vacuum. That's
Passenger
Good to
57? Or was that?
so you're
That was
and
only
then you
the
get
movie.
completely outside of the door. So
What?
yeah. So like you put your entire body out of like no, you put your left foot back here. Humor me, okay? And then at this point, I'm just holding you right here, okay? You know how if I said that if like somebody freezes up and we pull them back in, we just forcefully pull them all the way back in, you know?
Yeah.
So you're just chilling out there. You've got a propeller 10 feet in front of you that's going full speed, you know? And then you're chilling here in the door, and then I just give you go. I give you 2 fingers, and that means all right, leave.
I
You know,
just drop
you
like that.
You just
It's
drop.
better than one finger, but.
Yeah. You might have done that to a few, though.
It's crazy.
And so,